Peace and positivity, everyone. It's Takesha of Afro-Can Holistic, and you are watching another session of Black Women Who Blaze. And I'm joined with another woman in the industry who's here to share her story and her journey, and really just inspirational when I heard it. And so inviting. I love your energy. Kyona of, I'm not sure. I know you were transitioning the name Kyveda, but I saw it says Kai therapies you're moving into because you do so many things, and as you will share. Without further ado, Kyona, would you please share with the platform who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Takesha. First, I just want to thank you for inviting me to come onto your platform. I think it's brilliant what you're doing. I think it's necessary, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it and helping to spread the word and really embrace the movement. So yes, I'm Kyona, and I'm the founder of Kyveda. And I was originally Ky Therapy for about 20 years. And I started my work in the health and wellness industry through body work. So I had a really exclusive massage clientele as my second career. So that was kind of it, it spanned over 2 decades, and it evolved from just body work to including other modalities. And the way I like to describe kind of the evolution of Ky therapy is that, I went from doing providing a very passive a modality. And when I say passive, it's, I was doing the work. And people were always like, oh, come help. Oh, I hurt, come fix me, come fix me. And so my mission over the years, over the decades, has been to, just really embrace the self-care, elevated self-care. So my tagline, Kyveda, self-care elevated, was all about taking responsibility for your own health. And so the way that it's evolved is that it's not, it's no longer a passive practice. I'm not coming to the rescue. I am, really providing resources for my clientele, who are primarily women in their middlescence, with skill set to help themselves. It's like, it's a very cumulative, practice and lifestyle that I promote. And under the umbrella of Ayurveda, it's, all of the things that I do, the vibrational sound therapy, the auriculotherapy, the Reiki, the yoga therapy, cannabis therapeutics, they all fit so beautifully under the umbrella of Ayurveda, because it's really about the individual and meeting the individual where they are and helping them to evolve into, what they want for themselves. And, just putting some things in that toolkit, because it's like, I don't have to be there to lay hands on you for you to feel good. Like, here are some tools that you can always, go to. So I'm really about providing, education and empowering women, and lately, providing a community for us all to kind of share our experiences and learn and grow together. And that's what my new venture is all about, is really creating this just community. And thank goodness for the online platform, because people like me who like to stay in their homes and reap the benefits of still networking. And that's kind of been a beautiful part about the last couple of years, and releasing the boundaries and the limitations of location. So
yes, I agree. This is how we're able to commune today, and really how we connected online. I mean, I live on the other side of the country. So would you be able to share your location with everyone?
Yes. Yeah. I'm in Southern California. I'm located in San Diego.
Okay. And so California, I was going to ask, is it recreationally legal or
Yes.
medicinal? Yeah, so it's
We are
recreational.
blessed. we are we are so blessed. And it's like I have to it's interesting, like when I'm, looking at and inviting women into my new collective, I'm like West Coast, California people, because like we have the best of all the world, and it gets really sticky. And I don't stay up, like in my memory bank. I don't know who all is legal. I got to go and look it up and see, okay, what's going on in your state, like before
Yeah.
I get you all excited about what you can,
Yes.
have at your, so yeah, California, gotta love California. We're working our way. We're still a little slow in some of the other, the psilocybin world and whatnot, but cannabis, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
So, I mean, California, yeah, you guys you got all the goods there, you
Yes.
know, and the accessibility is just,
Mhm.
amazing. So, I'm actually excited about coming to the West Coast eventually and being
We
able
can't wait to
to.
have you. We can't wait to
Right.
have you.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And so, are you a medicinal card holder, even though it's recreational, or did you?
That's an awesome question. And years ago, I did have a caregiver's card. I was registered in that way. And today, after we meet, I'm going to log on to Verihill and I'm going to go ahead and get one because grow season's coming up. And, I'm a grower as well. I don't want limitations. And, there are the benefits. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to do because my next collective meeting is this Sunday. So I want to be able to provide, some information and some steps for the women who may be interested in saving some money and kind of we have more or less limitations, I'll say, for product. If you are a consumer, if you're going into the dispensaries, there are definitely the perks. And then
Yeah.
I do offer, some grow support. So, if anyone wants to grow and not have limitations in that realm as well, I think it's really beneficial. So yeah, so that's today. And I'm really excited. It's been like 3 days now. It's been on my list, like go to Berryhill and do the thing. Like I've been on the site. And yeah, it seems pretty easy, for us here in California again, and everybody's got their own, loopholes and whatnot. So
Okay.
I look forward to really kind of, seeing how easy it is to
Right.
obtain.
Right. And I
And
agree.
I struggled with it. So thank you for asking because I struggled with it. It's like it's not necessary, but why not?
Right. Right. And for us, I know especially here on the East Coast, I definitely advocate for
Yes,
for us as Black people to have the card. I mean,
absolutely.
because even though it's, legalized here in the state of Connecticut, and New Jersey, New York, and Massachusetts, I mean, we still, are the ones that are kind of, for lack of a better term, harassed.
Absolutely.
Even with it being
Absolutely. It's like,
legal.
don't
So,
give a reason. You don't even want
right,
to give a
right,
reason. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. So,
Understood. That was my reasoning for having the card, back in the day.
right.
And that was like early 2000s. That was like 2007.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
things have changed there.
Things
So
have changed. Things
yeah,
have
things have
changed.
changed. And so we're kind of, like you said, in that space where you guys were,
Mhm.
almost 10 years ago.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
we're kind of coming up. So I
Yeah.
agree. And like you said, you get more access, to, higher percentages if
Higher
you have a
percentages. Yes.
dispensary,
Yeah. And then
medicinal
amount as
grow.
well. Like the
Yes.
amount that you could have on you in your home, then the number of plants you can grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely some
It's less
benefits to it.
restrictive, to
Definitely.
this.
Yeah.
So, my next question is, how long have you been consuming cannabis?
Ooh. So um there's a couple different ways I want to answer that question. I want to say like regularly, for self-care,
Right.
recreationally. I have a couple of different answers. But like most people, I did kind of discover or enter into the world of cannabis, at that curious age. Yeah, I'm going to say high school. I'm going to just put it out there. High school
Right.
was the first dabble. Um, and as I matured and as I became, a professional, it was interesting because it was something that I always enjoyed, but there were times in my life when I chose not to partake.
Yeah.
And for me, I've learned about myself, but it's like I kind of get off on the discipline of life, like in certain areas, health and wellness especially is where I excel. That's my superpower. So it was always kind of fun for me to kind of abstain. And it's like, oh no, I don't. But there came a time when I was like, well, why am I not? And when I made the change career-wise to kind of step out of the kind of corporate entertainment world and work for myself, I kind of I became that person in my peer group who provided edibles. I was making my own edibles.
Right.
And it was really interesting to just kind of see how now, like this arc of my offerings has been, it started out very recreational and now it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
But still honoring the recreational use.
Yeah.
And there's a word, I think is, what is it? Recreational.
Yeah.
There's that play on words. Yeah, I love that because I feel like there's a place for it all. But I would say, to answer your question in another way, is that, so I'm going to say for 20 years now, I have been in a really deep relationship with the plant. I'm going to say it that way because I was introduced to it in my youth in a very, therapeutic and medicinal way. I knew about the properties, I knew that it could be used to help cancer patients. And so I had some really intimate, insight into that early on. So I think that kind of, I'm not even going to say I think, I know
Right.
that I know that I was privileged in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And the stigma was a little easier to drop. And I'm not going to say it wasn't there along the way, because, I kind of was always aware of, who and where and what. But, always knowing that there was, something more than just the recreation of it. But yeah, I've been using it daily, I would say, for the past 10 years maybe or so. Yeah, I could comfortably say that. And I do take fasts and I do cleanse and I do things like that. And then, when I'm approaching a cleanse, it's always a question for me. Right. Am I going to, and then I'm like, it's an herb like everything else. Like if I'm taking herbs during my cleanse, it is still an herb. I might change my method of administration.
Yeah.
I might clean that up a little bit. I might go from joints to vaporizing. Right. Or like, I kind of love a joint. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm gonna go along the scale to like, what's the healthiest option here? Or, maybe it's just going to be tincture or something like that. But yeah, it's just, I've been in deep relationship and really going from growing to making medicine to helping people figure out how to do it themselves.
Right.
So
wow. And so did you come to cannabis when you said you stopped, you would take a pause? Was there any health conditions that you started to, you found, listen, I'm going to use this for this?
Oh, I used to joke and say, it makes me nice. Like, it just like, you want me to trust, like it makes me want to be around you. And it probably makes you want to be around me. I'll share a quick story. I'm not going to mention any names, but if you're watching, kidding. I was in a relationship and my usage was a problem in the relationship because of the other person's inability to what is the word, moderate. So I was kind of like, not my problem. And I made a promise to myself years ago that, I would stop when I wanted to, never for someone else, because I knew I held the power. And that relationship dissolved because that was one of the reasons, but I was not willing to change. And it was almost that almost presented a challenge for me to use regularly so that I could prove how productive and how engaging I could be and how, I could deal. That's when I think that my perspective kind of shifted a little bit, where I really had to look at myself and say, well, is this a problem? Is it? And then I was like, no, I'm not the problem here. I'm not the problem. And I also gained a deeper respect and understanding for the bio-individuality component.
Yes.
How everybody, and I don't even think then I really fully grasped the endocannabinoid system then. I think that was even before, I feel like that was even before I went through the Holistic Cannabis Academy. So I didn't have the names for it. I didn't know the terminology, but I was keen enough to know that, look, we're all wired differently. And it makes me feel grown and sexy. And I could sorry that you can't handle your shit just because, but and I knew that person needed to really focus. And so not knocking anybody, but it was just very interesting. And that kind of, it just really solidified that for me. Everybody has a different reaction and level of tolerance and whatever. So, but I feel like the relationship that I'm in now was definitely kind of a foundational, we're at the same level, put it that way. We kind of joke about it sometimes, wait a minute, which one of it? I'm the professional here. And I was like, well, I got what I ordered. My order was right. Because yeah. So, and even my parents joked about it too, that when I was oh, there's this new person there. And my mom was like, well, what's the, because I know she got to the point where she called me Miss Cannabis at one point in our relationship. She's like, okay, Miss Cannabis.
Okay.
I have arrived. I have arrived.
Right. When your parents know, they know. If you know, you know.
And I think it took me until 40. They knew, but I think at 40, literally on my 40th birthday is when I brought the volcano and the bat, and I was like, snap. We're doing this. I was like, this is what I had, my little Amsterdam bag, and I got to the house and I just set the table, and no blink of an eye, they were like, all right, this is what we're doing.
I mean, it's something about your 40s, that's when it was just for me, this is what it is. It's time flowing, and we own it. We own it, right? Yes, we're here, and just how blessed as well for you to have both your parents. Still here and being
100%.
I get it. That's me. Definitely grateful for them.
Yes,
and their support. They're watching, and they're still trying to understand. How I'm navigating the space, but they're open, and that's all you can ask.
100%. It's so beautiful to share it multi-generationally, and across the peer groups and professional. That's what's so beautiful about today, and this whole, for me, is the way I see it is this legalization, and I feel like it's really just allowing us to flourish. And what I've been saying is that I really feel like I can be my authentic self and own it and promote it, for self-care.
That's right. Yes, I agree. I think you spoke about your preferred delivery method, but it's just to clarify, which way do you prefer to consume?
Well,
that's right.
I will say, yes, it is part of my ritual. I love to roll. I love working with, whole flower. Right before we were talking, or right before we got on this, though, I will tell you that I was in my kitchen laboratory and I got the Source Turbo going this week.
Oh, wow.
Keisha, I was just pulling off the mat the last little bit. So in my little baby ardent right now, my Nova, I am decarbing some FICO.
Oh, yes.
This is so I will never inhale that, but that's for medicinal purposes. But my preferred way, I will say, is definitely, whole flower. I have upgraded to a nice portable volcano just very recently. So like I said, that whole scale, the spectrum of, I'm always going to try to find the healthiest
Yeah.
healthiest option. And I love the fast onset of inhaling. I do have that bit of oral fixation. Yeah, I'm guilty. In high school and early college, I did smoke some cigarettes and some spliffs.
Right.
So I love smoking spliffs in Europe. Like that's my jam. Like,
Right.
I expect it to be a spliff when I'm in Europe. But I'll say at the beginning of COVID, I was a little concerned about just the whole respiratory. And, I was like, I didn't want to, my get
Yes,
in the head. And,
that was everyone.
I didn't smoke a joint for 8 months. And when I say that to people, they're like, what? I was like, oh, a joint. I didn't smoke a joint for 8 months.
Right.
Oh, but I had the glass out, had my bong, had my Pax vaporizer. I was doing that for that period of time. And then I started to like loosen up a little bit. Okay. And I'm sure it was around 420 or so that I was deciding like, okay, I think I'm ready for a little joint. And then I was like, I'm back.
Right, exactly.
So I'm kind of back to and it depends on what's going on, if I feel a little congested or tight. So I'm always checking in, like, I don't want to, I don't want to irritate my system. So I'm cautious, I'm very, it's always going to be, hemp papers, it's always going to be clean, unbleached papers. I'm using a beeline when I'm lighting, not doing butane lighting. So I'm always trying to do it mindfully. And that's what it's about. Conscious cannabis consumption is how I'm trying to, teach the ones who are still new to this. It's like, wait, there are many ways. There are many ways.
Definitely.
But yeah, I'm gonna say old school. Like I'm kind of old school. I mean, like this extension, like this little glass kind of filter is, even makes it a little cooler. So I'm like, okay, I'll be give yourself a little love.
Yeah. Yes. I'm a fan of cool smoke.
Right?
It needs to be cool.
Right? Cool. Or, through the water filtration. And even, botanicals, it's not always just straight cannabis.
That's right.
In mine. So this one has some wild daga that I grew outside.
Ooh,
I do a lot of blue lotus or lavender. So it's always fun, formulating and, honoring that it should be something that's going to, be, healing on many levels, on many levels. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So what brought you to the health and wellness space? You did say you came from entertainment and
wow. So it kind of, I don't think anything, I almost said it happened by accident, but I don't really believe in that. So I won't use those words per se, but I'll say this: it wasn't planned. It wasn't a conscious plan, and it wasn't something that I was like, oh, that's the, there came a time when what I was doing for work wasn't really benefiting me. There was, a shift had to happen, and I was kind of just curious. My curiosity started to peak, and I started to take a massage course in the evenings after work. And I did that, and that was just a thing that I did. And, I remember being in this job and kind of complaining to one of my friends, and he was like, but don't you have a trade? Like, can't you not do that and work for yourself? Cause and I was like, and I wasn't even thinking about the massage thing as a career option. That was just some skill that I wanted to really explore. And before I knew it, it became, it was very quickly when I thought I was like, okay, I'll just I'll do this job a little longer, stack some cash, and then make my move. Yeah, that didn't become available to me because I thought I was going to put in a 2-week notice, and we just kind of, that ended. So I went directly into, the body work, and very quickly, almost immediately, I started a private, I went to work for a hotel in Beverly Hills, but very immediately I started getting private clients. So I was like, oh, and when I say private clients, I mean big paying clients, so that I didn't have to hustle much. And that was nice. That was really nice. And I kind of rode that for a good 10 years. And I looked up, I had no plan. That was not the intention. So that was happening. And I was, practicing yoga, and then kind of meeting about maybe opening a yoga and massage place. I had a business partner at the time who was formerly my yoga teacher, and we explored that for a little bit, and we did a couple of events, and I was like, okay, there's something here. And I started going like, maybe I should teach yoga, because I had this, this one-on-one vibe going with people, like from from working one-on-one on a table. I thought teach yoga, but then I was like, I don't want to teach yoga in a studio. I still want that one-on-one relationship. So I did a yoga teacher training. The end of the yoga teacher training, I was introduced to a yoga therapy program at Loyola Marymount University in California. And so I said, oh, yoga therapy, that might be what I'm interested in more. So I did a 4-year program at LMU.
Wow.
I actually did it in 2 years. And it was awesome. And at the end of it, my internship was at this, the Venice Family Clinic, and we offered free care to community members. And it was an integrative medicine system we had the yoga therapists, they had mental health workers. There was an allopathic doctor, so Western medicine. They also had chiropractic and Feldenkrais. There was at least 6 therapies, and all of their patients had to see like all of the clinicians.
Wow.
So that was beautiful. That was a beautiful experience to really, integrate that and and we got a lot of great feedback and some of it was, why is what you're doing working when everything, we were the last ones on the team. So it's like some of the clients the patients that we had gone through all of those different, systems. And then they started seeing change when they worked, with yoga therapists. So that was really awesome. But along that journey is when I discovered Ayurveda on a deeper level, because I knew about it when I was in massage. We were actually doing Ayurvedic treatments at the hotel. And so Ayurveda comes back around, and I just fell in love with my teacher and her offering the way she just, it was a home setting learning situation. And I studied with her for years. And, it was just kind of building upon, what I had learned. Now, in between that, there were some other things, I did the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I did a lot of Reiki training. I did some other things that had all just kind of fallen into place. And when they started to offer just a few years ago, board certification for Ayurveda, myself and a couple of my colleagues were the first students to sit for the board exams and prepare for that. So that was amazing. So I am a board certified Ayurvedic health counselor. I call myself a perpetual student. My parents laugh because they're like, who are you? Because you were not like this. I graduated, it took me 5 years to get my college degree, and I thought I was going to be an attorney, but I was like, yeah, no, I've been in too long. I got to get out of here. So it's just been this really interesting journey. I went to college for broadcast journalism. So I decided after I changed my degree, because I thought I was going to, go to law school, I changed my degree, I changed my major. And my sister, she tells me, she says, you thought you were going to do broadcast journalism, and then you thought you were going to do pharmacology. And she goes, look at what you're doing now. She says, you're broadcasting a message of, self-care, elevated. It's on an herbal. So I was like, and it took her her observation just really enlightened me to myself. And I was like, you were absolutely right. I was like, there was a plan. I just didn't see it. Yeah.
Right. I feel like with, traditional education and institutions, sometimes that doesn't fit who we
are. It's not setting us up for success, right? Yeah. They don't ask the right questions. They're not equipped for that. I'll tell you, if they brought Ayurveda into that system where you're really looking at, the person per constitution. Yes. We would have a better world because people really kind of, they'd have a little more insight, a lot more insight.
Yes. I agree. Yeah. So like you said, a lifelong learner and student. I mean, that's what we all are.
Yes.
And oftentimes it's just finding the thing that we want or we're called to or want to know more about, and where we can
Absolutely.
utilize our gifts and our skills and talents best. And
Right.
so,
And I'll tell you, most of the modalities that I practice today, I got into it because I was curious about it for myself.
that's right.
Right. And then I was like, oh, wait, I should probably learn more about this. And then I'm like, oh, I may as well go all the way, go all the way and
Right,
then share it with my tribe.
right, right.
Yeah. And then too, working with women in their middle essence.
Yes.
It's relevant. It's right.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So when did you bring cannabis into your wellness practice as
Mm,
far
yeah.
as a career choice?
Hmm. Thank you. That's a great question too. It's interesting because I have, I have to know a person really well. I've been treating it that way. Like I have to know you well and know that you're not going to be like, what, to bring it up as an offering,
Mm,
right? It's like it's been on my website, but it's kind of hidden. It's not like broadcasted or anything.
right,
And I will say that just this year is when I've decided to fly my flag.
right.
And it really came about with this Canna Curious Women's Collective that I started. I'm pointing because that's my little sign that I have. This
Oh,
is
yes.
where I
Okay.
broadcast from. This is what they see.
Yeah.
So it's really this year that I've been offering, my coaching, my cannabis education services as a full package
Right.
consultation, and then with other offerings for medicine, herbal preparation courses, I call it. And, for the collective, it's geared towards women over 45.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
beginner,
Sorry, ladies. Sorry, yonder 45, you gotta wait, you got.
that one, I was so on the line with that. And I was like, do I say 40 or 45? Originally, I said 50. And then I realized I couldn't be in my club because
You're
that's
not there
not,
yet, right?
got one more year. one
Wow,
more
wow. You
year.
would
So I
never
was like, let me
know.
not exclude myself from my own club. So I decided 45. And, I felt like, that way, you have a mature woman coming into the scope, and she's not going to be like, what is this kid talking about? Because I've got 60 plus in my crew right now.
Wow,
So we start at 45.
wow,
That's the
wow.
youngest. That is the
Yeah,
youngest. And yeah. So it's happening now. This is the emergence of Kyveda, you know, coming out of the closet, because when I created this logo and the self-care elevated tagline as a rebrand from Kai Therapy, I always wanted it to be about cannabis.
right.
It took me, I had to fight myself to not make this look more like a cannabis leaf.
Yeah,
It was like, I knew I wanted, I can't even say it, geometric. I knew I wanted,
right.
and I don't know if you can tell what it is.
Right, right.
It is a lot of things, but
Yes,
primarily it's a K and a Y for Kyveda,
yes, guy, I see.
Kyona, but
Mhm,
also elementally, I want it to represent earth,
mhm,
air, ether, all the five elements that we talk
yeah,
about in Ayurveda. Just really representing that, elevation. I had this whole, and I created this logo on a drive from Los Angeles to San Diego in my head one night after work, like at
right.
11 p.m. driving back. I was like, oh wait, it was like totally configuring in my mind. And I was wondering, like, does that make sense? And I had to like come into that, I had to hurry, park the car and come in and draw it. And I was like,
Mm,
it's happening. And
yes,
it's happening in self-care. And I was like, everybody will know that that's what that means. Nobody knows. Nobody knows that self-care elevated means. But
no,
to
no.
me, that was my way of being like, and this was a good, I'm gonna put 4 years maybe that everybody, so it's been brewing, and now the volcano has erupted.
Right, right. Now is the
It's
time.
out, it's out, it's out.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Now
And
is
so,
the time.
and thank you for, having me on, because,
Yes,
this is
yes,
really
to get the word out. I mean,
word out.
we're looking for, a lot of us are looking for resources and
Yes,
connection. And
yes,
so,
yes,
however we can connect and plug each other in,
Absolutely.
and build a network where we can tap into resources, to
Yes.
education,
Yes.
for help in any way,
Yes.
especially like you said, for self-care and wellness. You know, I think
Definitely.
we have to create that network for ourselves as Black women is important. Um,
Definitely.
and moving right along with that, I wanted to ask about, advocacy and cannabis advocacy and how important is it to you in your work and what you're doing?
I've been looking for a way to kind of tie that into my collective, and I was struggling because, I wasn't finding, or haven't yet found, a mission to support. And so, what I've kind of taken on is like, let's back to that ownness of, taking care of yourself and, holding yourself responsible. The way that I've kind of spun it is like, let's just go straight from the ground up, grow your own.
Yes.
You don't have to rely on a dispensary.
Mhm.
If you know how to, start your own healing garden. And I mean that in a way that it doesn't have to just be cannabis. And I'm not a master gardener.
Right.
I mean, I've been able to use what I've grown in my medicine and in my smokables, and that makes me very happy. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that gratification of, doing it yourself. So if you're not sure who you're supporting in the dispensaries, like, take that element out of it,
Yes.
right, and just, do it yourself. So I am still looking for a way to, to have that mission, shed some light on it within
Right.
my collective. But I'm still looking, and I haven't really, maybe I just haven't given enough time to it. But the places that I've looked, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I hear some people aren't really okay. There's something that I'm not very clear about. So until I
Right.
know everything about it, I'm not going to be comfortable with like saying, okay, let's put our money in this, in this area.
Yes.
But like my first thoughts were, of course, like, for those who have been incarcerated, like, what can we do? But are our efforts going in the right place? I just, I haven't gotten
Right.
that answer yet. So
Right.
if you have any guidance on that, that would be
Oh,
amazing.
yes, definitely. I can definitely share,
Yeah. Yeah.
some initiatives or
Yeah.
some nonprofits and things like that that are working
And
to.
part of it, I was like looking at local, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm in San Diego, so I started to look around for like local initiatives, and I was like, okay, and if the website isn't,
Right.
I'm sorry, like, I'm a linguist, no, like, I was like, wait a minute, who's behind this? You guys got
Right. Right.
to put a
Yeah.
little more work
It's
into yours.
true.
So I'm super nitpicky like that. I would really appreciate if I could get, some guidance on that from.
Yes. Yes. We definitely have to vet,
Yeah,
because right,
yeah,
we just don't want to
yeah.
be
I could just
feeding.
give it for nobody, yeah, to anybody.
Right, right. And like you said, what are we truly supporting?
Yeah,
But I agree that advocacy starts with self,
yeah,
and then you advocate for others, of
yes,
course, and it can be,
yes,
informal, meaning your peers, your family members, or formal, meaning people you're getting involved in initiatives.
right,
And then systemic advocacy, like you said, for those who've been incarcerated
yes,
for something, minor cannabis offenses that people are now making millions of dollars off of. So yeah, we want to get involved, but the one way that you said you can do it with what you already are doing is helping people create their own healing gardens.
yeah,
That I mean, that in and of itself is a great way to get involved in advocacy, because now you are really connected to what it is that you're consuming, and
yep,
you take the power away from
yep,
someone
yep,
else
yep,
providing you with something that you can provide for yourself. I'm a big DIYer. That's one of
yeah.
the
Oh gosh, and
things.
after what's been going on this week in
Yes,
the kitchen, I'm like, oh my gosh.
right. It just changes the
Oh,
game for you with
change the
having access to those
yes,
type of tools.
tools.
And
Yep,
yes,
definitely,
I agree. So
definitely.
I wanted to ask about prohibition, and has it ever affected you specifically?
Um, I wouldn't say I've been affected by it necessarily. It's interesting too, when you were asking me like what was my first, early, how long have I been, using cannabis? I do remember having a friend and we lovingly used Sugar the Pusher as his name because it was like, I just like, that was like, I never had to, I never had to want for
Right.
cannabis. And I kind of made that pledge to myself at one point in my life too. And this was before I started growing, right before I started growing, because I even said like, I don't ever want to buy it. I don't ever want to have to buy it.
Yeah, I feel you.
I put that message out and I was like, it wasn't even like, I didn't even phrase it properly because we know how that works. When we broadcast the message to the universe, we have to say it in present tense, positive, specific. We know how that's supposed to work. But I just simply said, I don't ever want to have to buy it. And right when I said that, there was a pivot. And I don't want to say every, but I'll say this, a relationship that I got in right at that moment, they were growing in their yard.
Wow.
A client that I got right around that same time, she had to offload 27 plants that were indoor that I ended up growing in that outdoor space. And I was like, what is happening? It was raining down on me. And we were, we had a nice secure yard and, and then there were some other, situations that I was able to, that I was blessed enough to grow in and, under the radar and everything. So it was, I've always wanted for. So I remember, going into a dispensary for me was almost more like a field trip, just because I needed to know what everybody else was doing, It's like, let me see what you guys doing in here. And then at some point I thought there was a moment in time where I thought I wanted my dispensary, I wanted my edibles in dispensaries. But then I was kind of overwhelmed with like, that's got to be complicated and regulations that anybody could have done it at the time that I was thinking of it. Right. So yeah, I think I was looking at them, out of more curiosity and just wanting to be knowledgeable and educated as far as what was out there. But yeah, no, that message that I put out into the universe.
Wow, I'm about to put the messages out.
I'm saying, and look, I'll tell you how to do it the right way, and it will happen even faster. I look around sometimes, like if I would have done this the right way, how much time would I have saved?
Some notes, all right.
I literally remember that moment when I said that, and it was so pivotal because it was so immediate. I was like, oh, well, there you go.
Yes.
So, I guess, right, having the right intention to
yes. So right. And you like you said, you're in California and things, the climate and the energy there with cannabis is very different.
Very different.
Very different. So
thank goodness.
Right. Thank goodness. And there was a lot of work put in, there was definitely a lot of work put in by advocates and things like that. And in the culture of people saying, listen, this is a plant and we're using it. And that's that. That's that. So do you think federal legalization is happening? And what do you want to see when it does? Like what do you
it is interesting because there's still that. Okay, I'll put it this way, traveling, right?
Yes.
There's still that butt clenching moment where like, if you choose to travel with, it's like, you're committing, you already know.
Right.
But just, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't assume or project anything on it. But wouldn't it be beautiful if the federal legalization did take hold? Because I think there's a lot of confusion still now as far as, what is okay and what isn't. And, or even in the mailing, those things. I think of flying and I think of mailing when it comes to and there's the banking, of course, too, that issue.
Yes.
That's the big one, right? So I don't know. I feel like it will happen. I just don't know how long it would take for it to happen.
Right.
And again, all that says to me, it just solidifies my belief and my mission in taking control of your own grow, your own medicine.
Right.
But yeah, Wouldn't it be nice though, the day that you don't have that worry about what could happen,
concern, right?
about what could happen.
Yes, that's a concern for people who are definitely consuming it for medicinal purposes, for,
Yes.
something that they may need it extremely important for, and then you're traveling and you have to be concerned, you're in a state where, it's still
Right.
prohibited. Um,
Right.
or like you
And
said,
another,
in cannabis industry, the banking, in restrictions there, even
right.
just advertising our services.
Right, right. And even the social media blocks, right, that happen.
Right.
So there's still, it's not all love still.
Mhm.
And I think, I'm fortunate in the sense that, I have an existing business practice,
Mhm.
health care and wellness that, again, I consider it an herb like ashwagandha, ginkgo biloba, like just like the herbs that we
That's
use
right.
for other purposes. And this one's a master plant.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know,
You have exactly. You have quite a few of them. So, and cannabis is the one that everyone's focusing on
it's the
now.
one
But
everyone's
I
focused
know
on.
that you're doing some things and you're looking into, providing some other services. So, did you want to speak to the services that you provide, um, and also the collective that
Oh,
have
sure.
created?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So for as far as the, my Ayurveda, this is the way that, I promote my services is that, I'm, my target audience is women in their middlescence. And, my offering is that we co-create a wellness plan for you, based on your goals. And I will help you, I'll guide you through the process. So I offer one-on-one um, counseling, and we meet online. And the beginning, it's like there's always going to be a consultation to really determine the constitution. And whatever we're doing under my umbrella, it's always
Right.
let's, you know, consider the person in front of you. So there's the Ayurvedic offerings, which, the meetings could be either once or twice a month. We like to have an ongoing relationship for a specific amount of time or as needed. To begin, it's 5 sessions are really kind of just to get someone grounded and with a sense of where they're going. 5 sessions is kind of recommended to start. And then, depending on what comes up, that's when we decide which of the modalities are going to best support. And if it's just in the cannabis realm that they're interested in, it looks very similar because there's still a consultation that's going to determine, what the constitution is, taking into account any, historical health issues, looking at the current state for sure, and then really kind of honoring what delivery method the person is open to. Some are just like, I have no idea, like what are, how can I use this? And so
Right.
that's where the collective comes in, because I wanted to offer something that wasn't, expensive, and a huge commitment, but where you can come in and learn about what cannabis is, how to use it, and really, again, see that there are other people that are like you that are curious as well, that would like to have more information. And during our collective meetings, what's really fun is that they get to watch me partake. And I encourage them to do the same.
Right.
And at some point, throughout, it's like I highlight the fact that I am still able to deliver this information to you. Yes, I'm
Right.
having fun, but it is not affecting, my productivity or my attention. It's enhancing my creativity, So
Yeah.
it's opportunity for women to really, what I'm hearing, I'll tell you what I'm hearing and what I'm observing. I'm seeing minds change.
Mm.
I am seeing minds change. And, I've been told that I've provided, a way of looking at cannabis that they had never even considered. because of how they, the taboo, the stigma, oh, I've heard, oh, every boyfriend I've had always smoked, I tried it one day and that it just, so they just got disinterested. And I'm like, God, if that's not the story of every person, it's like, I can tell you why that happened. And I guarantee you, I can lead you down a different road so that you can figure out for yourself what you need. So the Canna Curious Women's Collective, it's geared towards women over 45, and it's $20 per session, and we go about 2 hours, and I run them on the second Sunday of the month, which has been lovingly tagged as Seconddays. Trying to make it easy. We've been trying to make it easy. Right. And we meet on Zoom. I've chosen Zoom as a platform because that's what I've been using for one-on-ones for pre-pandemic, really. But it's so fun. It's just really fun. I'm having a good time with it. And like I said at the beginning, like it's allowed me to be my authentic self. I have clients who I have like Ayurveda clients who have been with for years counseling, who've been, ongoing clients who have joined the collective. And we kind of laugh about it. I'm like, this is how I want to be in our meetings. Right. I'm so have my little, my client folder. Oh, right. So and I'm like, don't you like me better at this meeting?
That's right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And right. You, like you said, you can just be in full bloom, without having
gratification. It hits me different. It hits me so different. Like I am floating after, one of the meetings. And I get that feedback like right away. I'm seeing, them going like, oh, wow. Wow.
Yes.
So I look forward to them. My next one again is on Sunday.
Oh my goodness.
So this will be my third one because I actually did 2 in February. I only launched in February and I did 2 that month because I was really, I'm still in the place where I'm like hand inviting, like hand selecting who I want to be there. Right. And, a couple people weren't able to make the first one. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do another one. The following week, I was like, I'm doing another one. We're just going to change it up a little bit. And, it was that exciting for me. So this will be our third one coming up. And what I've said is that, if a topic comes up or if there's like, a lot of interest in something that I might want to do before the next topic that I announce, then maybe we'll add another one in. So we'll see where it goes. But what else has been coming up? This is interesting. What else has been coming up from some women who I do know who I've invited into the collective is that they're not ready to be out with their usage. Yeah. And, I know, we have our relationship, but so what I've also decided to offer is, hey, we can still do this with your crew. You pick the ladies and I will show up on Zoom. I will still show up. And because I don't want that to be a boundary. I'm like, I've got a couple that are just like, they're like, double Dutch. They're like, I want to, but I'm not ready. I want to, but I'm not ready. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm gonna meet you where you are. So that's also available as an offering. Yeah.
I agree. And that's a part of advocacy. You're doing the work of helping to lift the stigma and the stereotype behind it, because that's really what the apprehensiveness is, with
it really is, how they were raised, how they think they need to show up. I've been having conversations also about, finding ways to speak with your children. I'm blessed. I was taught early on about the healing benefits. I am ever grateful for that. Yes. And I understand that. And that's kind of the place where I come from. I'm like, no, it's you got to do that early. You got to change their mind early, normalize it.
Right. And that's exactly what I've decided to do with my club concept. Was really, because I used to do the body shop at home consulting. Yes. And so, I'll bring it to you. That way we don't have to really worry about finding a space that's cannabis friendly. You can be in the comfort of your own home with your people, and you can get some education and maybe try some gadgets or some product, whatever. Beautiful. So
I want to get there. I'm still hiding behind is it safe to come out yet?
Right.
just in the pandemic, not about cannabis. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
look at the too. But yeah, I love that idea of it being in person. And I also there's that too. I have some people who are like, I want the in-person version. I don't want to meet on Zoom. And that's one of my friends in the neighborhood is who I'm saying, like, not at my house, but at yours. We'll do it because you have more
Right.
space. So she keeps going like, okay, when you're ready to do the in-person one, I said, okay.
Right, right. And then now, that the weather's getting
Yes,
better and we can be outdoors. We don't have to be in enclosed
gonna have
spaces.
to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
right.
It's around the corner. We're not gonna be able to not do that.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yes, I think you beautifully kind of spoke to what you do, the offers that you have. And my last question would be, what message do you have for other Black women who
Mm,
consume cannabis and would like to get involved in this work?
mm. Definitely education first. I think these days, you can find so much information online. But I would say a trusted source like CCI, that's the Cannabis Coaching Institute. I would definitely say really put in the work to learn and apply it to yourself first,
That's right.
and then share it with those who you feel comfortable, around you with. And even resources like, what is it? It's just slipped my mind. Project CBD. Project CBD was like one of the places that I started really learning more about CBD through some years ago. And I just go down the rabbit holes. I love
Right.
I've got a stack of cannabis resource books.
Yeah.
The cannabis index, what is it? The cannabis health index,
Mhm.
Dr. Sulak's book, Cannabis for Clinicians.
Yeah.
I'm hungry for that information. But yeah, for sure, first, education. And even if it starts on such a small level with just sharing with your friends what you learned
Right.
and noticing the interest, because I think a lot of women are surprised when they learn who else, if they don't already, when they learn who else partakes.
Yes.
It's like it's kind of this bonding that happens, and I just love enlightening people with just a little bit of information. Sometimes they're like, "Wow, and ask questions. Reach out to people who and ask questions." But I mean, I think that everybody, it's like each one teach one. That's kind of my mentality. Like gain the knowledge, apply it to yourself, and then share it with those who are close to you. And if you feel like there's more that you can do, then maybe going down the coaching road, like through CCI, that
Right.
or just the education, because I know they have the cannabis educator program as well.
Yes. Yes.
Even if that's just to apply it to yourself, like I kind of look at it the way that, when I went into the yoga teaching realm, I remember at the beginning of that, I was told by the instructors that, well, actually they told us to raise our hands. They said, how many of you here, how many of you are here because you want to teach yoga? How many people? So raise a hand, raise your hands. And then they say, how many people are here just to deepen your own practice? And then, some hands raised. And they're like, okay, they said, just so you're aware, they said, the ones of you who think you're going to teach probably aren't going to teach. And the ones of you who say you're here to deepen your practice, you'll probably end up teaching.
Wow. Wow.
I kind of see it the same way, you know what I mean? So
That's
like,
it.
even
That's
if you
right.
just
This is
teach
true.
it for yourself, go down that road. It's fascinating. There's so much to learn, and you don't have to go all the way down the rabbit hole, but that's what I like to do. That's what I
Right.
like
Right.
to do. Yeah,
Right. I
that was my
agree.
I
I agree.
And
Education
respect
is
it as self-care, like really, really, looking at it as self-care. Because that's what I'm teaching, my ladies. It's like, no, you can apply this. There's so many applications. Let's see which one strikes you, which one resonates, and then let's explore that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yeah, I agree. Education is definitely first, you need to be well informed.
Yeah.
you know, and of course about the plan, about the history as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
You know, about the that way you can properly advocate for the plan and for yourself. You know, you have to practice. You know, you're your first client. You know,
100%.
in anything. So you want to make
Yes.
sure that you
You
are,
understand
you know,
it. Yeah.
doing all the things before you
Yeah.
move into the work of, you know, servicing others with
Yes.
cannabis as a tool. So I
Well
agree.
said. Well said.
I agree. And, you know, this platform was created for, you know, Black women, you know, to be visible in the cannabis space and to come on and say, yeah, yeah, I consume. And
Yeah.
yeah, I look at you because I used to get that all the time. Oh, you smoke weed? Like, you don't look like you smoke weed.
You look like you smoke weed. Like, let
Right.
me.
Right, right, right. So, you know, I agree that you know, that's why it's like, oh well, I do and I'm here and this is how I do it.
Yes.
And then, you know, I am getting contacted by others asking me like, how do I get involved? And like, how do I get in the industry? You know, and the first thing is, well, you show us, you know, how if you show how you do it, you know,
Yep.
that's your
Yep.
lane. You know,
Exactly.
you can create
Exactly.
your own lane. So I
Exactly.
agree.
Agreed.
But thank you for your time and
Thank
sharing your
you.
story and your journey. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. I appreciate the connection. It seems like we're building such a great network of people all
Yes.
throughout the nation. And so I can't wait to hear more about your collective and see, you know, just Kyveda grow into this, you know, juggernaut of wellness space of self-care and wellness, you know, alongside, aligned with Afro-Can and Holistic. You just
Yes.
never know. We could collab and do some things.
I
Um,
would love to. I would love to.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
it. I appreciate it.
Hurry up and get out here.
I know, I know, I know. I have to book it. They said I have to wait to book my my time, like my
Okay.
training. So as soon as I do, you know, then I'll have my dates. But
Exciting.
how can everyone, you know, reach you? You know, if they want, if they're
Sure.
looking for services or want to hear more about the collective.
Yes, my website would be the easiest. It's a very simple website, and I did just decide last night that I'm going to upgrade my website. I'm gonna get some cute visuals on there because I've had the most basic website forever, which I love because again, just it was just for information and menu
Right.
of services. But my website is kyveda.com, but it's ky-veda.com. And you can just click through. There's just like 4 tabs to see the services. And then there's a contact me tab that you can actually send me an email.
Okay, great. And that will be put in the description for
Awesome.
everyone to be able to click
Thank you.
on and, you know,
Thank you.
have immediate access. And so please like and subscribe to the channel. If you are a Black woman who blazes and would like to tell your story, reach out to me and let's connect. If you are a person who's dealing with any type of imbalance in your body and you are interested in learning how cannabis, herbal formulations and whole food nutrition can help you bring balance back into your body, you can reach me at afrocanaholistic.com. So thank you once again,
Thank
Kyona, and you'll see more of her, I'm quite sure.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Peace.